So I know this doesn't really apply as much to you anymore, Adam, as you've dropped quite a bit of weight and are looking quite svelte. But I don't know if you've guys noticed, you step outside and it doesn't feel like you're trying to get smothered by a wet woolen blanket. And it's fat guy season. Walk outside, you're not dying in a pool of your own sweat. What do you think?
I think my favorite part of this time of year is that you can wear both a sweatshirt or a t-shirt and no one looks at you like you're crazy. And also, I like to wear baggy clothes even when I'm slightly in shape, which according to the US government, I'm still obese, so yay me. But I love this time of the season because I could wear the same sweatshirt as somebody who's much smaller than me and nobody really thinks anything of it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I could lose 80 pounds and no one would even know. So, yeah. Come on, that was your setup.
Soccer chat with 2 T's because we're going to chat about soccer, but we're also in Chattanooga. So it's like a play on words. And, you know, Chattanooga is a soccer city.
So I think the best part about that was that I almost clicked on a Dumb and Dumber video. I'm just saying.
Welcome to Soccer Chat, Season 3, Episode 15.
No.
I am Alec with us, so let's just jump right in.
Let's put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
There he is.
Johnny on the spot. Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jonathan. Are you frustrated that you didn't get nominated for Goal of the Week with your amazing scoop to the back post?
It would have been cool to see at least a nomination, but there's no bonus for Goal of the Week, so I'm all right.
So my question, I'm going to play the video that your brother enjoys posting to Twitter, and ask you what more you could have done based off this video to at least get a nomination. So here it is. I think I know what the problem is.
Yeah, what's that?
You didn't hit both posts. You only hit one. If you just managed to hit both and then have it go in, then you would have gotten nominated. That's what must have been missing.
Yeah, I may have got the nomination then.
So you guys got the exciting victory, 3-1. Had this one in the bag before the final 20 minutes. Did that feel odd, having a nice lead going into the final parts of the game and looking to see it out?
It feels so nice, to have a little bit of breathing room in the last 15, 20 minutes. No, it feels so nice to be able to just relax a little bit and not have so much pressure going forward.
So is North Carolina still in your back pocket?
We got one more game.
Yeah, well, you got one more. Okay. Because you guys have owned them.
I don't want to speak too soon, but 3-0 against them, and we got them one more time at their place. So, I mean, they showed us playing here the first time that they can win games, and they beat New England 4-1 or something, the week before they played us. So like they can score goals and stuff. So there's not a team in the league who can't win games.
So Jonathan, I feel like most everybody who is going to be listening to this already knows this a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit about your background growing up in this area and kind of how you worked your way through the various areas that you're in, just so people can get an idea of how much of a homegrown talent you really are, just in case they don't know.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Dayton, Tennessee, so it's about 45 minutes north. Not much there. Grew up playing, rec soccer there, YMCA soccer there, and then when I was 10, started to play in Chattanooga with Premier Soccer Academy. And then 10 to 18, I was with them, and then played a little bit of NPSL in the off seasons in my sophomore, junior years of high school, senior year of high school.
You're allowed to say the team name. We're okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, with CFC. And then that was okay. And then college soccer at Bryan College, local school as well. Played all my 4 years there. And then was with the Dalton Red Wolves the summer before my senior year of college. Had a good season there, finished school, graduated a semester early, which was perfect timing for the USL season starting in the spring.
Awesome. So Jeff is also a fellow Bryan College man. I try not to hold it against him as a Covenant College grad, but yeah. So you've got someone who is also a Bryan Lion here with you. So
there we go.
Well, actually, yeah, because I think it's in his contract. There must always be a Lion with Ricketts. And when you go to the stadium, I think it's like at least a quarter of the stadium seems to be they're coming from Dayton and rooting for Jono. And so it's always so how has it been for this? Because you've seen a change in this past year compared to last year. Last year was great, new stadium. You personally had some good support from the get-go, but where it's at now, what do you think of the ramping up of the supporters, of their enthusiasm, of their attendance, but also just that interaction between the fans and the players?
Starts with the lights, more people are able to get to the games, since we're able to kick off in the evenings. I didn't know very many people that were, able to get off work at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, and come watch us play. So, I mean, that's been huge.
Don't tell my boss about that, by the way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sick.
Yeah, I'll be quiet. No, but that was huge. And then, I mean, everything that the club's doing is just attracting more fans. The suites are done now. They're looking really nice. Just under constant construction, and things are getting done. And, the team's playing well right now. So that always helps bring fans as well. So, yeah, it's been awesome. The increase in number of fans has been huge.
So, I mean, talking about what the team has done this season, you guys have a big game coming up this weekend against New England, who is one of those teams that's right there at the playoff line. You guys up in New England had an amazing comeback to tie in their place. What are things that you guys are talking about in practice to make sure you bring home the 3 points here at CHI?
Yeah, they're a good team. They put up a fight at their place. The goals that we conceded there weren't really like us. So, they're, a bit out of the ordinary. So I think, our defending's been pretty good. So if we can just, lock down defensively, we know that we always score goals. There's been like one game this season where we haven't scored a goal. So if we take care of our defensive responsibilities, starting from the top all the way back, then we know we're going to score goals. We're going to find a way to find the back of the net. We've got too many good players not to.
So here again with the game up in New England, your first time being in the team of the week, and you had the amazing assist where you faked that you were shooting on goal and swung your foot and kicked it over. Do you have anything else up your sleeve like that?
Oh, I got a lot of things. I'm a freestyler at heart, so I might try to pull something out and see what happens.
All right. So the real question, though, is if in this next goal that you score, because we both know you're going to score again, can you match the Marky Hernandez jig?
Yeah, that's
definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Marky would kill me. I would destroy it.
Yeah, he's just got that shoulder wiggle. That's just it's amazing. It's very inspiring. And so okay, so what are you going to do to up your celebration dance? So what can we expect from you, Jono?
I don't know. I always get my recommendations from the team, so I'll have to chat it up in the locker room. Marky reminded me actually before that game. He was like, "Hey, if you score, you got to grab the ball and do the celebration." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
The baby, yeah.
Yeah, thinking, yeah, okay. If I score this game, whatever. And it happened, and then I almost forgot. And then, after the initial part, I remembered. And so, yeah. Have to see what the guys say my next one should be.
So, all right. So, who is the leader as far as who's the one that's kind of calling the shots for telling you what you need to do on the pitch, or is there one kingpin, or is it just a whole gaggle of them?
In terms of celebrations?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just everyone, jokes in the locker room and stuff like that. And, you know, my first goal, you know, that whole week we were like doing like fake skateboarding tricks, like air skateboarding tricks and stuff like that. And so me and Ro were talking about, oh, if I score, you're going to do like a fake kick flip or something like that. And so it's just stuff like that.
So this season, one of the, you know, obviously the other big team on top right now is Union Omaha, and they have a couple of our players from last year. What was it like going up against those guys as they came in and getting an opportunity to, you know, to take what you used to do in practice and play them actually on the field? Was that a weird feeling, or was it fun to kind of get a chance to, you know, it always helps that we win, but
yeah. It was fun. I mean, it's a pretty normal feeling. You play against people that you know growing up all the time. But yeah, it was fun. It was cool playing against them.
If you could get back, if we can get back on top, I would love for us to just kind of take it to them at the end there and just one of us to walk over and be like, you could have won a championship if you just would have stayed.
Yeah, right. Would have scored more goals here if you would have stayed, right?
Oh yeah. Definitely would have gotten some good feeds from Ricky and some others. I mean, he is leading the league in crosses. So
yeah.
So, Jono, obviously we had the great news. We're very excited about the little baby Ricketts. I don't know if you saw last week. We were talking about possible names.
I did.
I have a deal. I have a deal that we need to propose to you. If we can help you get Defensive Player of the Year, is it possible for Soccer Chat to get naming rights to the baby Ricketts?
That's possible, but I have to run that by my wife first, I think.
Yeah. Let's sweeten the pot with that. Let her know she can have up to 3 vetoes of the names that we suggest.
So Brisket Ricketts is gone, is what you're saying.
Oh, right. I love Brisket Ricketts.
I'm gonna get those 3 vetoes, and I'm gonna keep Rusty Third Kit in the back pocket.
To the very end. There you go. You know, we need to approach Charlie about having Brisket Ricketts on their menu. That's something I think they really need to offer. So it's local, and it's yummy. So it sounds odd.
So Jonathan, one more question about kind of your move from, you know, moving up through the ranks. One of the big things that has occurred is that you've moved from traditionally more of a forward position to a defensive position. How hard has that transition been, and is it something that you have truly enjoyed or relished, or is it just kind of something you've learned to do?
I've always been like pretty good just like defending in general, even if I'm playing in the attack. I feel like I read the game well defensively and read players well and their movements and stuff like that. So in terms of that, it wasn't hard. I think the harder thing was, you know, picking and choosing the right times to get forward and stuff like that. Because it is more running if you want to attack as a right back or a left back. But I mean, attacking wise, I've been attacking a lot more this year, and especially when I play on the left side, I like attacking a lot more on the left side. Just because I played on the left wing for 4 years in college, so it's much more natural for me to run at players there, and I like crossing with my left foot better, and option to cut inside and use my right foot as well. So yeah, that's been really good playing on the left side.
Now, we talked about things being improved off the pitch in the past year, but I want to talk about improvements on the pitch as far as for not just performance, but how the team has gelled. And this is your 2nd year with the club, and so I think you're at a good vantage point to see how things are firing. So what do you think has been a reason why you guys seem to be reading off each other so well? Is it just time and play? Is it practice? Is there a deliberate attitude?
Yeah, Coach Oblate has definitely probably talked about it with you guys at some point, but you know, everyone in the locker room, everyone's a winner. And so they're willing to do anything to win in training, win in, you know, tag or whatever game we're playing in training, possession. When it comes to 11v11, you know, everyone wants to win. And just the way that we live the game, you know, as our coach talks about a lot, is just different than any other team or, you know, most of the other players in the league that live the game. We live it a little bit different. We have more of a drive and a passion and a motivation to win.
So talking about that great chemistry, the team put out a fun video with Jason Ramos and Ro talking about different Southern sayings. We obviously you're pretty much the only Southerner we have on the team. A lot of the other guys have come from California. They've come internationally. So who on the team does the best impersonation of a Southern accent?
Oh man, Ro likes to think he does. For sure. I don't know. I feel like it would have to be one of the South American guys who just haven't heard it as much, you know? Like, I don't think Luna or Juan could pull out a Southern accent and just, you know, start talking. But I don't know. I think Rose is okay, but it needs some work for sure.
So they just need to have some more sweet tea, you think? Is that what they're missing?
Yeah, they're missing some sweet tea and Mountain Dew and stuff like that.
There you go. All right.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, imagine Marky on Mountain Dew. I just he would break the speed of light.
Too much energy.
Mountain Dew kickstart.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well done.
Wow.
So you're talking about how much energy Marky would have if he had a Mountain Dew kickstart. Just imagine how little energy Adam would have if he didn't have the Mountain Dew kickstart.
Well done. All right, Jono, we've taken up quite a bit of your time. I have one kind of final question for you before we let you go. Last year, we challenged the coaches to some soccer, volleyball, soccer, tennis. We haven't really seen a lot of pictures of you guys playing soccer, tennis. Are they going to be, you know, when we finally get to the point where we can actually play against them, are they going to be ready, or is it just going to be a blowout on our part?
You guys might have the advantage if you've been putting any work at all. You know, we haven't seen the soccer tennis nets in a while, so yeah.
It's a bold assumption that we haven't been putting any work in. You're right, but it's a bold assumption.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us. It means a lot when you guys are able to take time out of your day, and especially after probably a hard day of training. So thank you so much, and we look forward to rooting you guys on to victory on Saturday.
Of course, guys. Always.
Good luck Saturday.
See you guys. Bye.
All right.
Had to ask that question. Sorry. And the kickstart could not have been more perfect. I'm just saying.
That was like in the script, but it was okay. It was not in the script. Nowhere on here does it say kickstart.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, no free ads, guys, by the way. So we talked about some of the North Carolina match. Obviously, Jonathan Ricketts' goal. Just a beautiful scoop up to the top bin. We had plenty of other really good goals by the team. If we go back and look through the game, of course, the first half didn't really have much of anything.
Other than rain.
Kind of dreary. Do we even bother talking first half? First half boring. Second half action picks up.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. And then we've already shown the first goal that was by Ricketts. I think that was the best angle. I'm wondering if that's part of why League One didn't nominate it, because per usual, their angles weren't great. I wish they would have picked up that one that the Red Wolves had shared, though, because it was a great shot. But that takes us to the second goal by Juan Galindrez, and that's what this was.
It down. He plays it back to Ruiz. Looking for some space.
And
shifts it over to Galindrez. Just outside the 6. Galindrez! Oh, off the post and in. He didn't score the last one, but he did get this one. Now it's goal number 9 of the year for Juan Galindrez.
So lightning quick, you can't even see it happen.
Yeah, he broke the space-time continuum right there. That's impressive to be able to do. I do know that when Jono's goal happened, the announcer thought it was Galindrez because it was so far out, and there was some confusion with that. So it was good to see Tanky with this sweet goal. Okay, I have to let you know, even though you didn't see it here, it was a really good goal. So, do you want to
Adam?
refresh that and try that again, or? Wow, we broke the atom.
So yeah.
So I think he's gonna.
I'm sure he's trying to figure out what's going on. His computer may have crashed.
Yeah,
but
isn't that your job to have the computer crashing?
You would think. I made sure to stay home so that my computer would not crash.
Wow.
But we know that. Hey, look, he's back.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have no idea how much you guys saw because my whole computer decided to crash. So that was fun.
Right before Ricky decided to pass. So we didn't see any of it, but that's fine.
Okay.
So we're up 2-0 after that goal. Everyone feels very confident considering past results with North Carolina. And then a very uncharacteristic mistake by Tim Trilk.
Ways of this game. That's carelessly given away, though. Here's North Carolina FC. A chance to capitalize on this turnover. Arriaga was looking for these guys to do coming into this game. Punish mishaps and consider.
So, Adam, you're in the stadium. We're up 2-0 at the time. That goal gets in. What's the reaction? How's everyone feeling when they see that happen?
You know, it's interesting because we had been so dominant, like they just weren't getting any opportunities that I don't feel like anyone was really worried. Like it didn't feel like a hushed, like everyone's freaking out. Oh crap, what's going to happen? It probably helps that we scored like half a second later. But yeah, honestly, the feeling in the stands didn't seem like it was like it wasn't one of those situations where like an oh no, what's going to happen here, because we're the better team typically in the second half. So I don't think anyone really freaked out.
So yeah, I would agree. And then, like you said, pretty much literally off the kickoff,
we come back with the answer.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Now here coming down the other end, Hernandez could square to the middle. Well, that didn't last long. Marky Hernandez does a little jig and gets his 4th goal of the season.
I think you could pull that dance off, Jeff.
I think I could. It could. Even though I don't drink, people would assume I have. So it's my lack of balance is what it is.
And so that's where we end up leaving it. They see out the game. What are your guys' thoughts on taking care of business against the last place team in the league?
It has to happen. And we did what we were supposed to do. I didn't like that it took us an entire half to get there. That is a little bit worrisome. I felt like, and I think I texted Alex because you had not stayed in the rain because you might melt. I understand. I think I texted you that I was sleepy. Like it was so bad in the first half, and that's how I felt the team was. The team felt like they were missing a gear, and then the second half, it was a totally different team. And I want to see that team in the first half the next time we play North Carolina. We should not be waiting to the second half to put them away. That is a team that is significantly less talented than we are, significantly less experienced than we have.
I think you're right. And as we move on to playoff games that are single elimination, we're going to need that team to play both halves.
You had mentioned about the rain, and I think that may have had a bigger impact, partially for obviously the pitch was just drenched. It was soggy, but there were several of us who were not there at the match, and I assume weather had an impact. So I'm wondering if the less amount of fans, meaning the less chanting, less impact. Do you think, Adam, that had a adverse effect, or do you think it didn't matter?
I don't think it would have mattered in that first half. Like I don't think if we had that place packed and sold out, that team that showed up in the first half would have suddenly kicked another gear. I think whatever coach said at halftime clicked, and it felt like a different team came on that field.
Yeah, it was a day and night difference between the first and second half. That's for sure.
So we got a question that came in from Travis Ricketts about that game and about some duels that actually happened during the game. And Specifically, he noted the following, that there were 23 duels in his last outing. If you ever seen a stat like that, what do you think about that? You're the stats guy. Jeff, what do you got for me? Is that a normal number?
No, that seems pretty high. I'm trying to look at the stats here to see. See if I can find this on here. Dual success rate. I don't know if I could find that actual stat to see it.
So how important is, let me go away from that. We don't have to go into details of the stats, but how important are those type of stats? Like what's the impact something like that has on a game?
I mean,
so when you're talking about a duel, you're talking about someone trying to go in and win the ball. And if there's 23, then it feels like if he's the center back, that's definitely not someone you want to necessarily have all of the duels. You maybe want them to be more of a midfield player who's playing all over. It means that you're most likely on your heels, the other team's coming at you. And I think it shows that the Red Wolves have a very attacking style, and they keep the pressure on, and they were very successful in doing that in this game. If he ended up with those 23 duels.
Yeah, it's, you know what, you wanted, yeah, it's a stat you'd like to have, but if that doesn't transfer into goals, it's kind of like what coach says about possession. Possession's great and you want it, but if you don't turn it into a goal, why? You've got to do something with it. So if you win those duels and then it just pitter-pats away, it's not as impressive. It's impressive if you could turn that around and you could change the momentum of the game.
All right, so that gives us kind of our breakdown a little bit of North Carolina. Anything else you guys want to mention about that game before we start going into our game preview versus New England? And just so you know, that was New England's player. I'm not talking about ours. I figured that was obvious, but maybe it wasn't.
Well, I was trying to look him up, and I guess I'm having computer issues as well today.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've never been one to review too many advanced stats, but I don't have many more thoughts on the North Carolina. I know that on our back channels, we had a question from one of our buddies was kind of talking about a magic number. So as you guys look at League One standings and we're getting towards the playoffs, how many games out of our six remaining, correct? Yeah, 6 remaining, do you guys feel like we need to win to lock down that playoff spot? Right now, New England in Forward Madison, 6th and 7th place, are at 28 points. They both have games in hand on us, but basically 12 points with 6 remaining. How many more do you think we need to put in? Of course, I'd like to win all 6, but how many are you looking for us to finally seal that playoff spot?
So are you talking about just making the top 6, or are you talking about the top 2 for the bye?
Yeah, top 6. That's what I'm talking about.
So, I think only 1 or 2.
Yeah, so I think if you look at Forward Madison, they've got the most, right? They've got 8 games remaining, right? And so you're looking at a team that can technically get 24 points, right? In theory. Mm-hmm. That's a lot, right? So that takes them to, doing some quick math, 52 points if they win out. So we'd have to win 4 games to guarantee ourselves to be at least tied with them. I don't think we need that many because I don't see them winning out. I think you're looking at out of 6 points or 6 games out of a possible 18 points. If you get 9, you're in. In this tie heavy league, you get 9 points, you're in. Like 49 points will easily get you in. I wouldn't be surprised if 49 points locks you into the top 2. As many ties as happen in this league.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right, and I think if we can peel off 4 or 5 wins, Omaha has had a great record as well. They've only got 2 losses similar to ours, and they have an upcoming game against Tucson. I believe they have a game against Union, or no, they have a game against Greenville before the end of the season, and as well as a makeup game against Forward Madison. So they've got tough games against teams that are really in that playoff hunt, and independent teams that are really fighting to make that playoff hunt, as opposed to two teams that kind of, it would be nice if they could get there, but aren't as concerned about it. So there's a very good chance that they could come away with another loss or two, and we could end up finding ourselves above that line.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at their schedule, they do get North Carolina once, which is the worst team in the league, and rightfully so. They get the Richmond Kickers once, which is, second to worst team, and rightfully so. I think, but Greenville has kind of turned it around. Tucson has definitely turned it around. Tormenta's played 24 games and they have 29 points. They only have 4 games left. But the thing with that is, they play them on Friday, October 1st. That'll be Tormenta's first game since September 19th. They will have a lot of rest for that game. So they've got an opportunity to really drop some points based off that schedule. Yeah, there's a couple games that I'm like, okay, Richmond could be a gimme, North Carolina could be a gimme. That's about it. Like, everything else on their schedule is pretty tough, even with them being a lot of home games because minor league baseball's over with.
All right. Well, looking at this game with New England, so there's a player, Rivera, had 23 duels. Is that a player that you guys are concerned about? If you think back, I mean, we have to go all the way back to the beginning of the season in the spring when we played up in New England, and could be a very different team from who we saw play there. Who are the players with New England that you guys are concerned about, that you're interested in seeing, wondering how our guys will match up against them?
You mentioned Rivera. Looking at his stats here, he does lead his team on shots by a long shot. 40 shots. The next guy, Spalding, has 28, but he only has 1 assist for the entire year. I see that he did have 6 goals, but the next one is 5 and 4. So yeah, he's a moderate threat. One thing is, I'm kind of surprised with so many shots that he doesn't have more assists. So he doesn't seem to be one that's. It just seems like he gets the ball and wants to shoot it, rather than trying to create something. So I think he's a medium threat.
I feel like you just pegged something that's very true about this New England team. They like to attempt shots, but they're not super accurate. So their last game versus Richmond, 26 shots, 8 on target. 26 shots, okay? Their loss to North Carolina, their 4-1 loss to North Carolina, they outshot North Carolina 18-12, but only had 6 that were on target. The game versus Tormenta, where they tied Tormenta, they outshot them 13-7, only had 3 on target. Like, they are consistently terribly bad at being accurate with their shots. They're really good at getting them off, but that says to me, more than likely, that you're talking a lot of outside the box shots. You're talking just a lot of those ones that, I guess that was a shot, like League One shots where it missed by 2 full goal lengths to the right and just barely became a goal kick instead of a throw in, and they count as a shot. It's just kind of one of those things. Like, you go back, they are always out shooting the opponent, 18-7, and they're 2-2 tied to Richmond. But once again, only 7 of those 18 on target. Like, I'm not going back and finding any time where they are, being reasonable with how much they're shooting versus how often it's on target. Their 3-0 victory over North Carolina, 19-6, only 7 on target. Like, yeah.
The only one I think I want to pay a little closer to attention to this time is Russ Hansky. And he leads in chances created, but also on assist. So he seems to be one that likes to make something happen and then pass it on to someone else. So rather than create something and to just try to immediately shoot it like Rivera, he looks like he's trying to create something. So I think he's probably the one that I'm most concerned with.
So that said, Coach Obleda, he doesn't really adjust his team based on who he's playing. He's going to have a lineup that he expects to go out and perform against anyone in the league. Who are you expecting? What lineup changes do you think you're going to see? Obviously, we'll have Sebastian Capazuki back available after his red card suspension. Is there any other changes that you expect to see in the team?
So let me first say this. When I heard that Ro Pineda was starting at right back, I was very confused. Because that, even though he's played a lot this season, he hasn't seemed very defensive minded, and he did an amazing job in that game. That said, he's not starting at right back. So I think you'll see Capizzucci back. But I want to mention that Rode had a great game. I thought he played really well. I was really impressed with how well he consistently remembered to go back on defense, because you could see a couple times where he came way forward and then like just jetted back as hard as he could because he was slightly out of position because it's not his natural spot, and he hasn't been playing there all season. He did great, but he's going to get, that's going to be switched up. You're going to see Capizzucci back. I would also be surprised if Ricky Ruiz was up top again. I think you're going to see some rotation there. I think you're going to see either Galindrez or Blake come back to the start.
Has anyone heard on the status of Rafa and the status of Navarro?
No, I've not heard anything. I don't have anything to report for them. If they're good to go and available, I think I would expect them to start. Possibly Rafa off the bench. Mm-hmm. They've got other guys that are putting in goals and things like that right now. But definitely Navarro, I think if he's good to go, then you're going to see him in place of Luna. Maybe even Navarro and Luna with Ramos pushed back up to kind of the defensive midfielder that they had early in the season.
Yeah, I can see either of those. I think Luna played a really good game, but if Navarro is available, it'd be hard not to have him in there. The reason I mentioned Rafa, if Rafa is available, that gives us some more starting options, and I still would want to see Galindrez coming in off the bench. I think he does better in the second half. And if at all possible, if you can get Galindrez and Markey coming in the second half, and so if either Blake or Rafa or possibly both could get up there at the first half, that would be good. I think that gives us some more opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see Rafa. I saw him in street clothes at the last home game. He did not seem confident of his ability to get back soon, but he is hopeful to get back at some point. And that's about the extent I'm going to kind of go into that. But I don't think we're going to see him. I hope I'm wrong and maybe he heals up quicker. But I don't. And I've been one of the biggest Rafa cheerleaders, talking about how much I keep hoping to see the Rafa that I saw playing for the Lansing Ignite. R.I.P. Yeah, feel bad for that minor league team. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the baseball team. Go Lugnuts. I really loved him there. I thought he was a really great player, and I don't think we've seen him because he has been battling injuries throughout the season, and that's been disappointing. And so I think because of that, and because he's not out because of anything other than injury, I would be shocked if we bring him back that quickly. So once he starts training again, I think they're going to take their time and maybe play him. And if you've already clinched, then you might not. But I think you won't see him until mid-October, late October at the earliest, in hopes of having him ready for the playoff push.
Now, one thing I was surprised was that Walefi played the full 90. And I don't think, is that the first time we've seen him do that this year?
He played the full 90 up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay.
And insisted on it.
we kind of, yeah. Well,
I feel like he was worried that Mora was going to substitute in for him. That's probably what it
was. So do you think Blake's going to get the start? He didn't even play in the last match.
I personally prefer Blake starting over Juan Galindrez starting, because I like Juan Galindrez coming in when the other people's legs are a little tired and taking advantage of it. He's sitting on 9 goals in the season. He's still got a shot at the most ridiculous Golden Boot ever, to be basically a super sub that wins the Golden Boot. I would love to see that happen. So if he does start, I hope he starts with a mentality that like it's the second half. But I think he takes advantage of those tired legs really well. He does a great job of body positioning, but he's not the fastest guy in the world. If you look at the goal he just had in this last game, it was all about how his touch, his body position, and being prepared for being at sniper. That is very useful in the second half. And I hate to say it, but he also runs out of gas after about 60 minutes of being on the pitch, it seems. So put him in there as a super sub in the second half. tell Blake up front, dude, you get 45 minutes to impress me to earn more time in the next game, but I'm subbing you out at the 45-minute mark unless you just are lights out. And then he goes full speed for 45 and you replace him with Galindrez. It's the advantage of having 5 subs. Take advantage of it.
I would agree with that. I think, Blake starting or even, I'm not sure what other kind of center forward positions that you could do. I know my wife is constantly talking about trying to move Jono up. So if we put Jono at the number 9, maybe we could do that with Rowe's success in defense. But yeah, so I think you're going to have to go with Blake if Rafa's not available. And I do think, you kind of need to put a bug in his ear, like, hey man, it's time to put up. And try to put some goals in the first half, and let's create some distance. And then, give me 45 minutes, give me 60 minutes of all you got. And we'll let Juan come in and finish the game off.
Yeah.
And see if that can, motivate him to be the goal scoring threat, the shadows that we were expecting people to chase.
So that takes us to our predictions, boys. I'm going to let Justice for Jono over there go first this time, so he can't go off of us. What do you got there, Alex?
I feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to take care of this team on our home turf. Last season, they came to Chattanooga, had the biggest victory for the Red Wolves in their franchise history at 4-0. I don't know that we blow them away that much in this match, but I do think that we can very comfortably come away with a 2-0 victory.
Yeah, looking at them, they've had all of their big wins have been against sides that have been struggling. So New England was a side that was struggling at the beginning, and they've done well to bounce back, but it's mostly been to those at the bottom of the standings. They might get a goal, but I'm gonna agree with the 2-0. That sounds very likely, because I think we're gonna get at least 2, and it's a good chance. I think after I don't know. I think Trolk is going to want to do everything he can to get another clean sheet again, especially after that last one shouldn't have gone through. I don't want to get that in his head too much, because he's been fantastic. It's been very rare that he lets one of those go through. So I think he's going to be on extra. He's going to eat an extra bowl of Wheaties or drink his Mountain Dew thing that you kids drink now.
So I'm actually gonna go with 3-0. And the reason for that is Trilk is currently leading the league in goals allowed. I know that people don't really realize this, because if you look overall, Omaha has allowed less goals, but the fact is Trilk didn't start the season in goal. And since he's come in, he has really nailed down that spot. And I think that's going to continue. And I just feel like if I go and I look at the scores, they allow goals in bunches. New England does. So it's like, if you get 2 goals on them, they're going to give up the third, because that's kind of what they tend to do, is give up a lot of goals. And we don't give up a lot of shots. And I think that's going to continue. And the reason that we don't give up a lot of shots is because we force it down their throats to the point where it makes it really hard for them to get enough opportunities. And this is a team that, as we outlined earlier, really likes to shoot. And I think you're going to get a bunch of players out there that are going to shooting from far away because they just want to take a shot. And that plays right into our hands. So I think it's a 3-0 victory.
All right. Well, it's time for some area soccer news and notes. Congrats to Lee University's Guy Busato, the Gulf South Conference Freshman of the Week. Congrats to Guy, former Chattanooga Red Wolves Academy product, if I'm not mistaken. Also with Lee, Haleigh Holland, named Defender of the Week for the Lee Lady Flames. Adam, you'll be excited about this. Covenant College, Parker Rody, USA South Rookie of the Week. So congrats to Parker. And your team right now, the Covenant men, are number 10 in NCAA Division III Region 6. I don't know, Adam.
Very specific. Yeah.
But hey, it's a ranking and it's a top 10. So congrats to the Scots. And Bryan College, Chloe Etherington, happy birthday. I assume you're listening and watching.
Obviously.
So happy birthday to Chloe. And those are the area news and notes.
Yeah, didn't Danny Kaye just be named for some team recently, like in the past week? That's
I believe it was also Danny's birthday. Is that not?
Yeah, but I thought she was named to a team as well, but like an all-defensive team or something. I don't know. But that's our keeper for the Lady Red Wolves. Maybe it was just her birthday. We all
if she wasn't, she should be.
She should be.
She's awesome.
She is amazing. Yep. So,
Danny Kaye.
All right, so let's switch to world soccer. What do you got for us, Alex?
I've got a deep dive into I believe it was Brentford, right? Were we talking Brentford, Jeff? Is that no?
I don't know if I
Hold
know
on.
that.
I think I'm having some issues here. Hold on.
Are there a bunch of I think there must have been a bunch of bees on his screen.
Huh. Okay. Anyway, we'll take a break from EPL and all that fun stuff. But there's been a lot of talk in international soccer about these proposed plans for the World Cup occurring every 2 years.
Stupid.
And Adam, I know you're Euro snob. You hate everything involved with international soccer. You only want Arsenal games and nothing else. But I would recommend that you go to si.com, article by Jonathan Wilson, slightly critical, as well as one that was written by Brian Strauss. I think those are two good places to start. But for me, here's the thing. It's a way that people talk about stuff that bothers me in ways that they try to short circuit the conversation. So the people who say, "Oh, the folks that don't want to, every 2 year World Cup, they just don't like that things are changing."
Not it.
Shortcuts the conversation, because I'm okay with change, but I need to know why. I want you to give me a reason for what you're trying to fix. So
trying to fix their pockets.
There's the other shortcut is, of course, the people who don't want the change automatically just say, "Oh, well, everyone's just doing it for money," as if their boss came to them and offered them a raise. They would say no, because they're not all about money.
But sometimes you have to balance money with the quality of what you're getting, and to do qualifying in a reasonable manner, you don't qualify the summer of the World Cup. You qualify the summer before, which means it would be constant World Cup qualifying or World Cup event. Yeah. And that will lose its luster. People will stop caring about it as much because it just won't be as important.
Yeah, it will. Right now, with it being every 4 years, it is the top competition for world soccer, hands down. The Olympics are not a joke, but certainly quite a far distance. I don't think that momentum will carry over for every 2 years. I think what you're going to do is you're going to water it down, and you're going to see it kind of considered on the same level as the Olympics. Secondly, already, since the Olympics is a little more watered down, you usually don't see the top players in the Olympics. That's going to get even worse. So if the qualifiers for the World Cup are going to be the same time as qualifiers for the Olympics, then why even have soccer in the Olympics? So I'm with Adam with this, because I think I do see it's a cash grab, but I don't think it makes business sense for the clubs, because you then you're increasing the chances of your good players getting seriously injured. You are and again, in the time of the pandemic, really has opened our eyes about the impact and what it takes to get someone to cross borders. And that may not. Yes, I think it's going to get better than it is right now, but I don't think we're ever going to get back to pre-2020 on that issue. And I think so you're going to be seeing, I think it's going to be detrimental to the Premier League, to MLS, to all these other national leagues. So I'm not a fan of it at all.
Well, let me ask this question, and I feel like I'm right on this, but isn't the Women's World Cup every 4 years on the opposite 2-year span? So like
No.
it's the men's, or is it 1 year off? Is it 1 year off?
Yeah, it's like the Women's World Cup is in odd numbered years because the Olympics, the Women's Olympic tournament, is in the even numbered years.
Okay, so it's 1 year off.
So it's a huge shift to the calendar. And Jeff, you're talking about Olympics. The men's Olympic tournament is staged as an under 23 event.
Right.
So it's almost kind of like a glorified youth tournament.
Right. So it's really going to get even less, is what I'm saying.
It doesn't really make sense in the Olympic program, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. To me, it's just the shortcut, the conversation to talk about how, people are just afraid of change. But to me, when I'm reading about what they're trying to do, the way that they want to reform world soccer, they haven't convinced me that they're really solving a problem. It really feels like they're just going to be creating more, as you're talking about. The way that they're talking about trying to change the international windows. We're just going to shut a league down for a whole month. I don't see how Premier League clubs, Bundesliga clubs, even MLS clubs, even though, we'll talk about in a second here, they're planning on doing just that, are going to shut down their league for an entire month. Not every player goes and plays internationally when they have those windows. So what are those guys supposed to do? And so I don't think they've really answered the problems, and they're creating more. One of the other things they talked about is when they're in those windows, the coaches are only going to have a certain amount of time to be with the players. It's going to lead to, almost kind of a college basketball type soccer. It's going to be very defensive, very direct. They're not going to be trying to, to work with the players too much. You're going to see mostly older players because the coaches are going to want to go with guys that they trust. Yeah. And so, you get a whole bunch of extra money at the start, but then people stop tuning in because that entertainment factor just isn't there. And so I think they're going to end up creating more problems than they think they're solving in trying to kind of sweeten the pot for some of these other clubs that aren't able to get in as often. So that's what I think.
So when you talk about sweetening the pot, let's flip over to the newly announced expanded items here in the U.S. The Leagues Cup with La Liga and MLS, and the expanded CCL. What are your thoughts on that?
Here again, you know how MLS decided the best way to advertise their brand was to put together an all-star team and have it get boat raced by one of the best teams in Europe every summer?
Yeah. That's
what this feels like. Hey, I know how we can improve our product. Let's just let Mexican teams come into America and take our lunch money for 1 month every year.
I don't like it, not because of that. I'm perfectly fine with MLS getting their butts kicked by the Mexican teams on a regular basis. I'm okay with that.
You're a Euro snob and you hate everything American. So
no, my issue actually is because of the fact that I do care about the other things, and that's that it once again shows MLS's lack of care for the Open Cup, their lack of willingness to admit that there are other leagues outside of themselves, and the expansion of CCL does it even more, right? It puts less importance on the Open Cup. They don't realize that they have an opportunity to have something that could be really cool, and they don't utilize it. Like, this is their chance to have a true, competition that could actually matter and could actually be something really fun. But I think there's a bit of fear there, right? Like, the last time an MLS team lost the Open Cup was Richmond Kickers way back when. I get that, right? That was the last time a non-top division team won it. But the championships are getting better and better. MLS is becoming more and more spread out because they've added 1 billion teams. And I think the differences are starting to show that they're not as great as they want it to be. And I think that's partly why.
I actually kind of like the idea of the expanded Leagues Cup because, yes, I do think they are going to take us to task as far as for Mexico is, especially early on. But that's how you sharpen your sword. And I think one of the things the U.S. teams need to do is, if they're going to up their brand, then they have to play serious competition. The most serious competition that's close to us is MX, because there is some fantastic soccer just south of us. And yes, I think for the first couple of years, it's certainly going to tilt Mexico's way. But after we keep playing it, I think we're going to be getting some of those wins. And which I mean, I think that will lead to better soccer in the long run coming out of the U.S. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm for it, because I think that's a better measurement, and I think it's a better goal to see how we measure against. So yeah, going up against Europe, I don't think is beneficial. But if we could get to where the world sees us on the same footing as the Mexican leagues, I think we've done quite a bit on world soccer.
I'm not completely sold, but I think you make a good point that the best way that you can improve your quality is to play those tough, challenging games against teams that are kind of above you. Just look at Sheriff Tiraspol in UEFA Champions League.
Yeah.
You know, the Moldovans team had to beat the best to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's going to help them get to the knockout stage. Not really, but any other thoughts?
I think it's time for us to move on to everyone's favorite part of the show. Wouldn't you agree?
It is time for the Biggleswade Report. Should I go now? Do I go now? Okay.
Quality. It's quality.
So we're going to do a little bit more than just Biggleswade right now. We're going to check in with some of the other teams we've adopted. But let's start with Biggleswade United. Still looking for their first win, but they had what was their closest margin of the season over the weekend, Biggleswade United. Biggleswade FC looking to get off a losing streak, but they are off this weekend. And Biggleswade Town, I was mistaken. They had a season match rescheduled, so it's this weekend that they are playing Alvechurch. But Leyton Orient, club from London, brisk 5-mile walk from Arsenal, is a club that I've followed for a while, and they are in English League 2. Right now, this season, they hired former Wolves boss Kenny Jackett. Jeff, you're familiar with Kenny Jackett,
Yes,
right?
I am. Yes, I am.
So he has got them rolling. Right now, they are in second place, unbeaten in their last 5 matches through in League 2. So congrats to them. If you highlights on Twitter and stuff, very exciting attacking play. So really excited to see them possibly get themselves back to English League 1. Also, over in Canada, Hamilton Forge, you remember we adopted these guys because they have the Tim Hortons kit.
You did. You did.
I want the Tim Hortons kit. That's why I adopted them. They are right now in 3rd place, 6 points clear of Halifax Wanderers.
Yeah.
Take that, Jeff.
Yep, that's fine. It's not going to stay that way. It's not going to stay that way.
Our old friend Stephen Beattie has a few games left over in the Irish League. Right now, Cork City's 6th place in the Irish First Division. Hope everything's going well for you, Stephen. I'm sure you tune in and watch all the time. And then also overseas in the first Delit of Iceland, IBV just secured promotion, guys. Their leading scorer. Can anyone guess? Anyone?
Von Liechtenstein?
Cito
Seon, former Red Wolf. Cito Seon, their leading scorer, 13 goals in 19 matches.
Wow.
And he has led that team up to the Urvalstillet, the Icelandic Premier League. So, there you go. That's your Biggleswade Report. Lots of great soccer happening all over the world.
Good news for Cito Seon. So
congrats, yeah, for sure.
Nice guy. He was a real nice guy.
All right, well, that takes us right up to the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I guess we'll see you on Saturday.
Bye. Oh, sorry.
Bye.
Out of
Bye.
sync. Wow, that was so bad. That was like